Just take a moment right now to just breathe. YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you're a mom, I definitely needed that. So I was watching Sisiyemmie. She's a Nigerian vlogger. I've been watching her for many years, and this particular video that she did, at the end of it, she was talking about being tired as a mom, and now a mom of two. It resonated with me, and it just really even more like encouraged me to do this video. I've been thinking about doing the video, but you know, I was just kind of putting it off, but now that was a reason for me to get on here and do it. I feel that moms really need to vent, whether you're venting by yourself and just saying like this is hard, like talking out to yourself, venting to friends, venting to your mom, venting to people that help you with the kids or a kid. Vent to them, because I feel like we moms need to do this to let it all out exactly how we're feeling it, because for me that's therapeutic. I feel like when you bottle so much stuff in and your frustrations, it can come out in other places. So I'm that type of person. I used to work at a kid's store, and whenever moms came in, we would talk while they were, you know, shopping and things like that, because it helped me a lot to deal with, especially the first few months when I was, you know, I had my son. So yeah, I wanted to do this video. So this video is motherhood is hard. It's just hard. Being a mom is a tiring job. It's exhausting. Most of the time you're really sleep deprived, and that affects you in so many ways. I've definitely been feeling it, and I was like, you know what, I need to do this video. There's a lot of other videos that I've been finding that, well, moms are just venting and letting it out. So if you're not if you're a judgmental person and you don't like venting videos, this is not the one for you, because I'm gonna bring it out exactly how I've been feeling it. I know it gets better as your kids start getting older and stuff, but it's a lifetime job pretty much. So motherhood is tiring, it's exhausting, you're fatigued most of the time. People that don't have any help, I don't know how you're doing it. People that have more than 2 kids, kudos to you guys, because even one I'm already complaining with and whining about. I can only imagine having 2 or more. So yeah, so motherhood is tiring, one, because sleep is a problem. I know my son, now that he's almost 3, is when he's starting sleeping better. So I'm able to get at least maybe a good 6 hours, which is enough for me. I'm an early bird person. I have like bad insomnia anyway, so sleep has never been like something I used to do anyway. But now it's better. Before that, I noticed that it was really one of the things that really made me not enjoy being a mom. Because when you are not sleeping, that's the foundation of everything. You're not getting enough rest. So you function in the world that way when you're not getting sleep. So you might be on the edge, you might be like, your temper might not be the best at times, and you're really exhausted to deal with everything else. So she was talking about it, although she is a stay-at-home mom kind of, because she's a vlogger and things like that, it's still the same. Fatigue is still there. And I've had moments where I'm so exhausted where my eyes were just closing by themselves. Even when I tried to like just sit down or like, you know, just say, let me get some rest, I would just feel it. Like I was my whole body was just like this, like limp, like it was just ready to lay on a bed somewhere or fall down and just fall asleep. So those are moments that a lot of moms experience. You know, you see your eyes just like watery and your eyelids are so heavy. You look like crap. I mean, I've had moments like that where I've just looked in the mirror and I'm like, who the heck is this person? Because I don't recognize it. It's a dirty job because you're constantly cleaning. You yourself sometimes don't get to take a shower as often as you want. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of juggling. You're constantly doing more than one thing at a time. And at the end of the day, each day you are wiped out. I remember where I used to work, I talked to a lady who said, you know, every day with more than, I think she had like twins or something, she was getting through. And when you're trying to get through each day, sometimes you are missing little moments, and I'm guilty of that. I've had moments where I was like, man, my kid did something extraordinary and I missed it because I was caught up in getting all the things that I need to do. So it is that. It's not fun at times. I have times when I'm just like, I don't enjoy this. And sometimes I'm like, I just want to run away. I want to get away from it all, you know? And I remember I put that, and somebody had left a comment somewhere and saying that, well, the baby's here, deal with it, you know? And I was like, how inconsiderate can you be? Because other moms would totally understand where I was coming from. So there's mom shamers out there, other moms who are doing this, and it's really ridiculous to me. If one thing, we should be like unified and saying, you know, I get it, you know. So yeah, so motherhood is hard because I have moments where I'm struggling with an identity crisis, like who I used to be before and who I am now, and I'm trying to reconcile it, and it's just not like, it's not going together well, you know. It's like I used to be a very up and go person, and now that I have to plan everything before I go, affects me, you know. I have moments where I'm just like, I look at just myself and I'm like, man, you know, this is like not me, like this is not cool, you know. I remember before, like if I had a skin t-shirt, I would be like changing it. If my hair was not looking right, I was fixing it, and things like that. And sometimes now I'm just too tired to even do that. So it takes a toll. When you're not looking a certain way, your self-esteem kind of goes downhill. And when you can't have that freedom to just get up and go, you have to plan so much that sometimes you just say, forget it. Like we try to have date nights, for example, but the date nights are so rare because we have to plan it out so much that sometimes we end up being home and watching the TV instead of going out. And it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't believe it. Like, is this me? And I remember my sister made a comment. She was like, man, she was like, you guys want to go out somewhere? And I was like, no, I'd rather be in, you know, it's raining, like forget it. She was like, oh wow, you, like he used to be the get up and go person. And I'm like, well, things have changed. I also had a baby when I was like 34, so that also makes a difference. You know, maybe if you had your kids at 20s, you still have the energy like now in your 30s, you could try to do stuff. It's a little different because I'm getting older, I'm cracking, I'm popping. My back has changed since the epidural. So it's just, I find myself just like, I'd rather be in silence staring at the wall, and that's really not normal. You know, you have to get up and go and do things, but it becomes harder when you're a mom. Another thing that somebody mentioned was like sometimes she doesn't enjoy playing. Like your kids want to play, they want to play with dolls, they want to play with the ball, they want to play all that, and sometimes I also find myself not enjoying those moments. I'm just like my son will ask me to like play with the ball, and then I kick the ball and he's doing like Ronaldo tricks, and I'm like, okay, well, mommy can't do Ronaldo tricks. Like he's kicking the ball up there and I'm down here. It's like some of the things that I don't enjoy is like being hit, things being thrown at me, my kid jumping on me, my kid hitting me in the face with stuff, my kid like just like one time threw up on me. Like I don't enjoy that stuff sometimes. I really don't. Like I'm like, no. And sometimes like one time my kid, I was like sitting on the bed and I fell asleep, and one time he came and stood right there with a book in front of me, but I was asleep and it was in silent. He was silent, and I woke up and got scared so much I almost fell out of the bed, and I was like so angry about it. I'm like, oh my God, you have to say something, you know, because that really creeped me out. So little things like that happen. You just like, I'm human, like I want to react exactly how I feel, but then you have to filter sometimes how you're feeling, because your kid is like, okay, whoa, my mom is crazy, like why is she acting like that, you know? So yeah. So as you can see, I'm just venting. That's what I really wanted to do on here. This is not an edited video. It's gonna be all over the place. You know, and I'm not saying that I don't love my son. I'm not saying that I hate it, because I have really, really many amazing moments where I'm just like so thankful to God. I'm thankful for my son. I'm thankful, you know, but the reality is there's times when I don't feel quite like that, you know, and this is why I wanted to do this video and just show that it's okay to vent and let things out how you're feeling them. And then at the end, I'm going to try to talk about some of the things I've done now. As my kid is starting to, you know, is a toddler now, to help me out a little bit, because that's important. I'm not just going to talk about rambling on and then not offer like some ways that I deal with things. Yeah. So there's moments when you feel like you failed, and then you're just like, I failed at this motherhood thing. I suck, you know? And then there's days where you're like, I got this. Okay, you know, bring it on, you know? So you have those ups and downs. You have moments where you're lonely. That's another thing that people, other moms were talking about. You get lonely because if you are, for example, a stay-at-home mom like me, you're home with your kid most of the days. Your husband comes home later in the day, and you are talking to your toddler all day. You haven't talked to any other person that's normal. So pretty much when your husband gets home, for example, that's who you're going to talk to. And it just feels like the outside world is outside. Like you don't get to really experience the outside world anymore. You don't have that freedom to just be out and about, you know. Taking a walk with your kid is not being out and experiencing the world, you know. So I feel like that sometimes. I just feel sometimes my husband comes home and I have nothing else to give, you know. I feel like I have talked all day, I have hugged and gave kisses. So sometimes my husband walks in and I'm just like laying there and I'm just silent, you know, because I feel like I've given so much and my body cannot even get that, like, hey, how was work? You know, I don't have it, you know. And it's not like I'm saying it's every day, but it's some days like that, you know. I have some moments where I just feel like calling my mom from Africa and just telling her, you know, please be here so I can just drop off my son so I can go do something for myself, you know. So it's really all over the place, but I never, you know, I just don't want anybody to get that impression that, oh, you know, moms don't love their kids or they don't appreciate them, and they're not thankful for them and things like that. But it is not it's not easy work. You know, there's no, like, I think the payoff is just you raise good human beings, and then later on they kind of take care of you a little bit, and so like that's the payoff. So it's thankless, like nobody, you know, your hubby or whatever can say thanks for taking care of the kids, but this is gonna continue, you know, you're still gonna be doing more stuff. So nobody can say thank you for every little thing that you do each day, you know. But for me, the fatigue was like, the fatigue is real. And man, yeah. So being that said, that I've said that motherhood is tiring and all that and exhausting, I wanted to offer some of the things that I do. So one of the things I've done now is to figure out when my husband is off, and that day he takes our son to do something while I get a little time for myself. That's been very important. I'm making it a part of every day. Like, what day are you off? You know, take him and I'm gonna be going somewhere. Another thing that I do now, I'm gonna be putting on my earphones and listening to like guided meditation. So I'll shut down like maybe a good 10 minutes when my son is napping and just sit down on the floor and just like listen to that for a little bit. I also started back up dancing because I love dancing, but I stopped doing that because the time was so limited. I'm back to dancing. I try to dance every day now to get my little exercise in, and that's really making a difference because I realized, man, I love dancing. Why did I not do it as often after I had my son? Like, that's something that's been a part of me. Yeah. Another thing that I do is to try to like do little things, like I drink water throughout the day to really keep myself hydrated. I do my stretches often. Whenever I'm like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel it. Like if I wake up in the morning, I try to do stretches. That helps. I also try to do like activities where we're moving with my son, like we're dancing and things like that on the TV. So that way we're kind of doing both, killing two birds with one stone. Yeah, so, and I try to read. I watch things that are informational, like on YouTube. I also I read things. And it just makes me feel like, okay, you know, I'm kind of back to myself a little. Anyway, my battery is running low, so let me cut this video short. And I'll see you guys in the next video.